All right, let's dive into one of Italy's most celebrated and, let's be honest, sometimes tricky grapes, Nebbiolo. If you're gearing up for your WSET Level 3 or 4, this breakdown is built just for you, to give you that clear, confident understanding you'll need on exam day. You hear this phrase all the time, right? The king of wines, the wine of kings. But it's not just some clever marketing slogan. It's got real history. This title comes from its connection to the House of Savoy, basically the royals back in the 19th century. They absolutely championed Barolo, and its fame spread across all the royal courts of Europe. It really cemented its status as true liquid nobility. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll tackle the grape's unique personality, what I call the Nebbiolo paradox. Then we'll journey to its home in Piemonte. After that, we'll put Barolo and Barbaresco head-to-head. We'll lock in those crucial aging laws, and we'll finish up by learning how to read a label like a pro. Okay, let's get right into it. To really get Nebbiolo, you have to understand its core identity. And honestly, it's a grape full of fascinating contradictions. Grasping this is absolutely step one. And this right here, this is the central paradox. You look at it in the glass, and its pale garnet color might fool you. You might think, oh, this looks like a delicate, older Pinot Noir. But then you take a sip, and bam, you get this massive wall of powerful, grippy tannin and seriously high acidity. It looks light, but it is an absolute powerhouse on the palate. Now, the aromas are a huge clue. When it's young, Nebbiolo is so beautifully perfumed with things like sour cherries, rose petals, and dried herbs. But here's where the magic really happens. You give this grape the bottle age it demands, and those pretty aromas evolve into these incredible, deep, tertiary notes. We're talking tar, leather, earthy truffle, and even a cigar box. It's just amazing. Okay, here's a little nugget of information that's perfect for your exams, because it trips a lot of people up. The name Nebbiolo comes from the Italian word nebbia, which means fog. But, and this is the key part, it's not named after the morning fogs that roll through the vineyards in autumn. Nope. It actually refers to the waxy, fog-like coating, the bloom, on the grape skins themselves. So it's about the berry, not the weather. So we know what the grape is like, but how does its home, its terroir, shape it? To understand that, we have to go to Piemonte in northwest Italy. This is, without a doubt, the spiritual home of Nebbiolo. And the name of the region itself gives us our first big clue. Piemonte literally translates to foot of the mountains. The entire region is just dramatically surrounded by the Alps, and you better believe they play a huge role in the terroir here. So what does being at the foot of the Alps actually do? Well, first, the climate is moderate continental. Those mountains act like a giant wall, creating a rain shadow that protects the vineyards. And for a late-ripening grape like Nebbiolo, the long, slow growing season is just perfect. Even those famous autumn fogs play a part. They slow everything down at the very end, letting flavors develop while holding on to that critical high acidity. Okay, now let's zoom in on the two heavy hitters, the most famous expressions of Nebbiolo, Barolo and Barbaresco. They are both 100% Nebbiolo, both have the top DOCG status, and they're just a few miles apart, but they make distinctly different wines. It's a classic tale of two villages. Let's really break down the differences here, because this is key for the exam. Look at Barbaresco. It's at a lower altitude, and it's closer to the Tanaro River. What does that mean? Well, that combination creates a slightly warmer microclimate. So the Nebbiolo grapes there ripen about a week earlier than they do in the higher, cooler hills of Barolo. And the result? Barbaresco tends to be a bit fruitier, with softer tannins, making it a little more approachable when it's young. Okay, time for some numbers. And if you're a WSET student, you just have to know these cold. It's pure memorization, but it's non-negotiable. So let's lock these in. First up, the king, Barolo. The law says it needs a total of 38 months of aging. That's more than 3 years before it can even be sold. And a really crucial part of that time, a minimum of 18 months, has to be spent in oak barrels. This is absolutely essential to start taming those massive, formidable Barolo tannins. Now, let's contrast that with Barbaresco. You can see it makes sense with its softer profile. The law requires way less time, just 26 months total. And the time it has to spend in oak? Exactly half of Barolo's, just a 9-month minimum. See, these rules aren't random. They're a direct reflection of the different tannic structures that you get from the two different terroirs. Okay, last big piece of the puzzle, decoding the label. Especially for WCST level 3 and 4, this is so important because the words on that label tell you everything about the wine's specific origin and its potential quality. You can think about it like a quality pyramid. At the very bottom, you have a bottle that just says Barolo DOCG. That means the grapes could be a blend from any of the 11 approved villages. Take a step up and you might see a village name on the label. That means all the grapes came from that one specific place. And at the very top of the pyramid, you have the MGA, or cru, a single named vineyard. So, for example, if you pick up a bottle and it says Barolo Serralonga Daba, what does that tell you? It tells you that 100% of the grapes in that bottle were grown inside the borders of that one village, which, by the way, is famous for producing some of the most structured and longest-lived Barolos out there. And then, if you see a name like Kenyubi on the label, well, you've reached the very top. This is a cru, or as the locals call it, an MGA. Kenyubi is one of the most historic and famous single vineyards in all of Barolo, known for wines with incredible balance and complexity. So, when you put it all together, the most important thing to remember is that Nebbiolo is a wine of contrasts. It pulls you in with that pale color and those beautiful, delicate aromas, but then it demands your attention on the palate with that serious structure. It's a wine that really rewards knowledge. And maybe most of all, it rewards patience. And this leaves us with a final thought to chew on as you continue your studies. We're seeing modern winemaking techniques that can produce wines with softer, riper tannins. So the big question is that classic decade-plus waiting game for Nebbiolo becoming a thing of the past? It's a huge debate shaping the future of this truly noble grape.